Open session for any citizen concerns or any items that are not on tonight's agenda. So if somebody has something they want to talk about with the commission, just raise your hand and give us your name and address, and we'll listen. All right, we'll have no open session citizen concerns this evening, so we'll move on through the regular agenda. The first item we have tonight on the regular agenda, under regulatory hearings, is the notice of intent, a new filing for 10 Technology Drive. That's a construction of a new building and utilities, and we'll have the legal advertisement read into the record now. Carl.
Mr. Chairman, under the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, 131, Section 40, and the Chelmsford Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 187, the Chelmsford Conservation Commission will conduct a public meeting at the town offices, 50 Billerica Road, Chelmsford, on Tuesday, July 20th, 2021, at 7 o'clock p.m. for a notice of intent filed by David Laverty. The applicant wishes to construct a new one-story building with associated utilities at 10 Technology Drive. Work will take place within 100 feet of a wetland.
Thank you, Carl. And now we'll hear from the applicant. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. For your record, my name is Steve Stupinski from Merrimack Engineering. We all met at the site walk a couple months ago out at 10 Technology. We filed a request for determination of applicability to fix the wetland line that runs along the edge of the site. The site consists of approximately 4 acres of land at the Lowell Chelmsford line. It's in the Technology Drive Industrial Park. Slopes from Technology Drive out to that wetland pond in the back of the site. If you remember, we sort of parked to the left of the site in this parking lot and walked over to see the resource area. The proposed building, which is going to be built by a division of Avery Correction Labels. I guess I call them Avery Correction because I remember the days used to use correction tape. I don't think we do that anymore. But anyway, Avery has a printing division. They print business cards and that sort of thing. No longer, I guess people use the internet and they send their orders to them. So it's a very high-tech operation that they have. The orders come in by computer. They go to somebody who sets up the card if it's not already set up. Then it goes right to the printing machine. It prints it. And basically, the employees take it from the machine and they pack it up and they send it to you the next day. So it's a 44,000 square foot building that they are proposing to build sort of in the center of the site. The access will be near the lower line off Technology Drive. Parking area in the front, truck and parking access on the right side near the lower line. Around the back, 3 loading docks for tractor trailer deliveries and pickup, and also a drive-in door, although they're not going to drive in, but it's for like UPS and smaller trucks to come where they load them non-tailgate. Excuse me. There's also parking on the left side of the building, which is the west side of the site. If you look at the topography and the resource areas, we have no activity within the 25-foot no disturb zone. We have no paving in the 35-foot no pavement zone. And the building is out of the 100-foot buffer zone entirely. What is being built in the buffer zone is the truck access around the back, and a portion will have the driveway that leads to a parking area that's on the west side of the site. You will see that there's no detention being provided on the site. Everything is being infiltrated from the roof in subsurface chambers. The site drainage is being collected. It's treated with storm scepters and then put into the 3 subsurface disposal systems that we have for the drainage shown on the plan in orange. So essentially, we have a reduction in the peak rate of runoff for all the storms except for a small area right at the driveway because of the way Technology Drive is graded. We have to sort of build it up a little. So a little increase there, negligible. But other than that, we provide detention and stormwater mitigation through those chambered systems, the hand core chambers. And there's a small portion of the site which the chambers can't pick up. It's from the curb on out to the wetland. And we have an infiltration trench that we're going to build along that edge, so it'll even pick up the runoff from the grass shoulder areas. So the only discharge we would have is an overflow for a storm greater than a 100-year storm that makes its way into the chambers, and that overflow would be into a 4-foot or 5-foot wide grass swale that we have at the end detention area that terminates right at the 25-foot no disturb zone. It's about 25 feet long. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward proposal. We've got a landscaping plan that's in your package that shows where the landscaping is being proposed. The snow stockpile areas proposed as well. Those are on the layout plan that has the dimensions and layout of the parking in the building. And that's really it in a nutshell. I would say that most of the site is going to be enclosed with erosion control even outside the 100-foot buffer. We're using that to define the limit of work. We have a silt stock that would be built, put in right along the lower line. There's a number of constraints associated with this design that we've had to consider. First and foremost, there's a sewer easement running right through the site. I think we kind of walked in that open area. And the town has a metering station for the sewer before it runs into Lowell, so we've sort of protected that and the grading around it. There's a large Verizon easement in the front portion of the site. And again, we've had to design around that. That's got naturally a generator there as well. And then there's a grading and utility easement on the southwest portion of the site that provides water service and other utilities into the adjacent building. So we've designed all around those. Currently, we filed with the planning board for site plan approval. I think that's scheduled for their first meeting in August. Town engineers reviewed the plans. She's had a few technical comments, and we've actually revised the plans, and she'll be reviewing them when she gets back from vacation, I think. Other than that, that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions you have regarding the operation and the site plan.
Well, thank you, Steve. Appreciate your presentation. Let's see if the commissioners have any questions or comments at this point. Dave, would you like to go first?
As you said, the plans have been will be reviewed by the town engineer. Are these the plans that she will review?
She's actually reviewed them, and she's had a few comments, like, for
Right.
example, put crushed
And you've
stone.
made some changes.
Right,
And are
and,
those changes in the
no,
plans?
they're not in.
So
this
do
set.
we need to see another set of plans?
Right, what I'm gonna do is, after tonight's meeting, the revisions that I forward to Christina, I will also forward to the commission. But I can tell you the scope of the changes are, like, add crushed stone beneath the, instead of bank run gravel, put crushed stone underneath the drainage system. A few other changes, a few more spot grades.
I understand,
Yeah.
but we need to approve the
Right.
same set of plans
Right.
that everyone else is going to approve.
Right.
That's all.
Right, and I guess what I would also say is material changes in terms of layout. There were no comments on the layout. There were no comments on the grading, except to specify hydroseed on 3-to-1 or steeper slopes. Other than that, the comments were few and minor.
I have one other question, Chris.
Sure, Dave.
I may have not heard what you said. Where is the roof runoff go from the building?
The roof runoff from the building goes into the two detention areas that are located on the westerly side and the southerly side of the site. So if you look closely at the utility plan, you'll see the roof slopes entirely to the back. So there are no scuppers or downspouts on the side. So the majority of the building gets picked up by the scuppers and the downspouts on the long side of the building, and those go into the larger infiltration
That's the
system.
same area that the road runoff goes
Some of the
into?
site goes to, right. And then the smaller wing, that goes into the detention infiltration area that's on the westerly side.
In Christina's report, I didn't see, is her drainage calculations include all of that runoff?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so she's satisfied with
Yeah.
that, okay. That's all
She
I had.
actually sent a member of her staff out to do the test pit inspections for the water table and the soils determinations as well.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks. Mark, any questions?
I didn't hear if you did mention it, but there's a lot of information on these sheets. Is there a place for snow storage?
Yes. The layout plan, I think, shows this snow storage that's proposed over on the southeasterly corner of the site between the Lowell Town Line and the driveway to sort of handle the snow storage from this parking lot in the front, the side, and a portion of the rear is handled with a snow storage area directly behind the building. And then this parking lot is handled with a snow
Yeah, it's
storage
good.
area at the
Yeah,
end.
with
It's gonna be very easy to push it into the wetlands, isn't it?
Right, it's all it's outside of 100 feet, it's 100 or 75 from the,
It's 100, I believe.
is that outside of it? I don't know what the number is.
That won't be behind the building.
This snow storage area would be, and this area would be within the buffer.
That
but-
one would have to,
Right, but the pavement is set 40 feet from the property line, which is about where the edge of the wetlands are. Wetlands are actually a little bit off our side.
You're gonna granite curbing there, so we don't want you to push
The-
the snow.
Right, the entire parking area is, and the driveway is slope granite edging or vertical concrete curbing, so it's all entirely curbed. We do have one section that's going to be maybe bituminous, that would be on the inside area here, but other than that, everything's slope granite or vertical concrete.
Okay, just show the new location of the snow storage.
Is that
Yeah,
the thing that says SSA?
Yes, snow storage
It's on
area.
here?
Yeah, but
Yep.
it's not the proper location.
it has to be outside of 100 feet per
Okay.
wetlands protection.
Well, whatever the
so-
Mass State regs are,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Right.
100, so.
Okay.
So it might require removal in heavy storms,
Right.
yeah.
That's all I picked up on that.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Bill?
What's the separation from the water table to the bottom of your infiltration?
In all cases, it's a minimum of 2, but generally speaking, it's around 3.5.
3.5, but no more than,
No closer than
no
2.
closer than 2?
Yeah.
Because you did testing pits where
We
those
did.
are going?
Yeah, we did test pits. There was a test pit in the back for the rear infiltration area. We did one on the side, one in the front, and we didn't do one here, but I mean, the soils are consistent on the site. And we adjusted the water table for the grade.
Well, it goes uphill right there, too,
Yes.
right? Yeah, that's the only question I had, Dave.
Thanks. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, Carl?
What, in the area, in the buffer area, is there any disturbance? You taking trees out? You doing anything in that area?
All the vegetation on the site is, I don't know, I'm going to call it scrub. Yeah, so
There were some good-sized trees and
Yeah, and I think, yeah, so basically everything anything inside the limit of grading is going to be removed. We have no disturbance in the no disturb zone, so the erosion control is set there. We do have some grading. There's a section. There are sections of the site that have no grading. So, when you come into the Modicon site and you sort of hang a left on the driveway, there's a section right in here where there's some trees. Those will probably remain. We have no grading there. We're matching the existing grades with the sidewalk only being built there. There's some isolated areas on the side of the site and in the grading easement, of course, and also in this area in the back. So those trees will remain, but generally speaking, it's going to be
okay.
cut.
Okay, no, that's all I got.
All right, thanks, Carl. John?
Obviously, there's a lot of excavation. Is material going to be hauled out?
Well, actually, I think there's going to be material actually brought in, because if you look at the finished floor is at 119, and the existing grade at the back of the building is 112. So we've got 7 feet of fill within the building. At the loading docks, at the wing, we take advantage of the grade. So there's 3, so we have the tailgates there, but we're actually doing a small fill as well adjacent to the loading docks. We try to come back to the existing grade over the sewer easement, so we don't surcharge the pipe. That was something the sewer department and Christina had talked to us about. So when you get to the sewer easement, we're pretty close to being on grade. There's like a couple of foot of grade change that we're adding. We're not cutting, we're actually doing some filling. So it's more material being brought in than brought out.
Excavated out.
Right. And we are cutting in the front for the parking lot.
Right, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm good.
Bill? Yeah, one more question on sheet 9. You said you're going to put crushed stone underneath the infiltration system now, so you've been changing these notes where it says...
No, what it is under the drain manholes. If you look at the drain manhole details and our catch basin details, we have 12 inches of gravel.
Okay.
She wants 8 inches of crushed stone.
Okay,
So-
but so under the infiltration system, you're going to have
6 inches of stone.
6 inches of stone.
Yep.
On the note on page 9, it says, any fill required under any infiltration system shall be compacted, bank run gravel, or coarse sand, so that note will be changed?
No, that won't change. That'll stay the same.
So you,
You think it should change, Bill?
no, I'm just asking, I maybe I misunderstood what you said about the gravel, the stone.
No,
You're putting crushed stone under,
Yeah, under the drain manholes.
Yep.
And under the catch basins,
But
not
not
under
the
the chambers, right?
okay, that's
Yeah.
going to stay the,
That's going to stay as designed.
okay, I just wanted to clarify
Yep.
that. Okay. I thought you meant on the infiltration system when you said it.
Yeah, Dave?
And another one. Carl brought up the question about you're going to, so you're not clear cutting the site, but you're cutting down a lot of stuff, and you're cutting down some trees, you said. Is there anything in the landscaping plan to replace trees that size anywhere on the site? Or are we going to have a net reduction in landscape?
Well,
You're
if-
just going to have shrubs and plants?
No, I have some larger trees planted, that I think 2.5 inch caliper. I do have some shade trees provided in parking areas and in the islands. I think I specified little leaf linden so that the leaves, can pass through the drainage grates and not block them.
That's all I hear.
Good for now? We have the green cards?
I have them with me.
You have them with you? Okay, good, good. And Katie, any questions, comments beyond what we've had from the commissioners?
No, I have my recommendations in the agent's report, so, for the pinning of the building and the pavement.
Right. It seems like
Thanks.
a good idea to have the,
Right, and now, two other, the snow storage outside 100 feet, and we'll need the revised plan set. So,
What-
once
Exactly.
planning board is,
One thing I might say about the snow storage, maybe you can consider this, the areas from the snow storage areas do drain into the catch basins that go into the storm scepters. So that runoff is treated, and our treatment train is not just 80%. I think we're up around 96 or 97% TSS removal. We've got oil and grease separators in the basins as well. So I would just say maybe it might not be a requirement to change.
we gotta
I would-
comply with the state law.
yeah, I would say for a small event, maybe.
Yeah.
But if we get winters
Yeah.
like 2015, it's gonna
Yeah.
have to be, you'll
Yeah.
have to remove it anyways, because you'll
Yeah.
have the parking space,
There
so.
won't be enough room, right.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christina's agreed that you meet the TSS, even with the snow storage, right?
Right,
I'll double check with DEP, make sure.
okay.
that
Yeah, we
that's-
gotta comply
'cause
basically with
They
whatever
haven't
this.
commented yet,
yeah,
DEP,
yeah,
so
we gotta
I
get their
don't know if
comments,
they
yeah.
will, but
Yeah, but we gotta comply with this.
I'll ask
No,
the contact.
storage, yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask my contact at
Requirements,
DEP.
So we got amended plans coming in. Katie had highlighted, we need to have, when it comes time for us to issue an order, we'd have to have a corner of the building pinned at that 104 feet, as well as having the edge of pavement pinned at the 40, just so there's no, no infringement later on. Trees came up, so maybe when we meet again, it might be good to highlight, where the trees are going to be in the landscape plan. We come back again.
Okay, I think the landscape plan does show them.
Okay.
You have that.
Which page, is that one of these pages?
Towards the end. Last one, maybe.
Number 11.
11? You can read it.
Question for you. You're going to planning board, you said early in August.
Yes.
We're meeting, this commission meets on August 3rd and August 17th is our schedule for the summer. What would be better for continuance at this point? Just,
I think Christi- go
August
ahead.
11th, I think, is planning board.
so August 11th, we
Thank-
plan. So it might be better to come to us after the planning board meeting is my thought, but it's going to be kind of up to your discretion.
Yeah, I think she's on vacation. I think she said till August 2nd. So it's,
Yeah, that might be
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I think she's gone for 2 weeks, I think. So, probably better to have the second meeting.
All right. This is a public hearing, though, so if there's anyone from the public that has any questions or comments for the applicant or for the commission, just raise your hand and come up and identify yourself with your name and address for the record. All right, we have no public input, Dave?
Could I ask two non-conservation
Yeah,
questions?
why not? Sure.
Why did Avery choose Chelmsford? Do you know?
Yeah, Avery's, they're actually based in California, but they're from Framingham. That's where the original company is.
Right.
The old Dennison, yeah.
Right. So they're really Framingham. They have 3 locations that do this work right now, and they're going to combine them into one. And I think the CEO either lives in Chelmsford or he
That's
lives.
the answer. Right there. No, it really is. That's all I needed. Second question, why did Avery choose to build a new building as opposed to occupying a building that's empty? No, you may not know that.
I do know it. It's a very clean operation. I think they looked for a building that would satisfy what they need. But, initially there'll be 30 employees there for the first 2 years. They hope the workforce grows, but they don't know what it'll grow to. But we anticipated in 5 years it would be at 80. That's the plan. It's a very clean operation. They're going to have 4 production lines within the building. The building's designed specifically for that particular use, and there's employees in Framingham and employees in Lowell that do that job right now, and Chelmsford's close enough for them to keep their jobs, and
I'm glad your client's coming to Chelmsford. It's great. That's all I had, Chris.
So Steve, we appreciate your presentation today, and you had some questions from the commission, and we've got some open items for the next meeting, but, sounds like a good project, and it appears to be very, very positive impact and no concerns environmentally for us.
You want a
tonight.
motion to continue?
Yes, so we can have a motion to continue, Dave?
I move we continue the hearing on, what's the name of it?
10 Technology
On
Drive.
Technology Drive until August
17th.
17th.
Motion by Dave,
Second.
seconded by Bill. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, unanimous. We'll see you on the 17th.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Steve. All right, the next item we have on tonight's agenda is an amended notice of intent. It's been continued with respect to 45 Richardson Road. I understand that we also have a request tonight to continue that to our next meeting.
Yes.
Can I have a motion then to continue 45 Richardson Road to our August 3rd meeting?
I move we continue the hearing on 45 Richardson Road until August 17th.
Moved by Dave.
August 3rd.
I'm sorry,
August 3rd.
but we did the previous one to the
Yeah,
17th.
'cause they
Okay.
need a little more time.
August 3rd.
You know, we used to go through the summer with no meetings. You realize that?
I'm
You
making
know,
you work.
when Darren was back here,
I don't
remember us
wanna hear
having the summers off? But
Second it.
Seconded by Carl, but hey, just remind him about that.
He'd like his summer off at home, too.
Summer off, though. All those in favor of the continuance?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? None unanimous. All right, so that was on for the 3rd. Okay. Next on tonight's agenda is the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation continuance, and that's with respect to 255 Princeton Street wetland boundary determination. And just reminding anyone in the public that may be here or listening in, at this point, we're just verifying, confirming the wetland line. There's no presentation, there are no plans at the moment for what might go on the site at some point. The only thing before us, Conservation Commissioners, is just to confirm whether this is an accurate delineation of the wetland boundary. So let's go to the applicant.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Mark Arnold with Goddard Consulting here on behalf of Maple Multifamily Land SE for the ANRAD at 255 Princeton Street in Chelmsford. The last meeting, we presented the commission with the plans submitted based on our delineation of the wetland resource areas on the property. As shown on this plan here, we had the area near the existing entrance to 255 Princeton Street with the wetlands here, with the interior pond also shown, and again, the wetland extending to this end of the front of the property as well. We conducted a site walk last week with the commission to review the wetland line. There were no questions. And again, our company is very confident this is the correct wetland line based on the Wetlands Protection Act delineation guidelines as well as the Chelmsford bylaw. And we're looking to get an ORAD so we can propose activities in the future.
Thanks, Mark. And again, all 6 commissioners here were out in that site last Wednesday night, and we spent some time out there for sure, and
Some deeper than others.
someone, yeah,
Some got a little more
I'm glad
familiar
you
with the
said that,
ground out there.
some of us were right nose to nose with that vegetation, inspecting it ever so carefully. But it was a good site walk, and it's nothing like getting out in the site. So any questions or comments from the commissioners? I mean, pretty cut and dry, so to speak, out there.
Did a nice job.
Yeah.
Looked good.
Yeah, the flags were good, well placed. This is a public hearing, so if anybody from the public would like to make a comment or have a question, we're close to closing, I think, this hearing.
Chris?
Dave, yeah.
I think the wetland area is well-defined geographically. There were very few areas, if any, I think, where you could question where the placement of the line was. As we also saw that it's pretty much of a bowl that goes down from the road, and then at the back of the bowl, it goes up pretty high, So that area was pretty well defined. And so I think the flagging was fine.
Good. Good. All right, well, then, could we have a motion then to approve?
I move that we approve the ANRAD for 255 Princeton Street for wetland boundary delineation.
Thanks, Dave. Seconded?
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Unanimous. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Good luck. We may see you again.
I would think so.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe soon. All right. This is a notice of intent. Next on the agenda, continuation 16 Rack Road, construction of an addition and deck. And deck. Katie?
Yeah, oh, no, I was just, want me to update?
Yeah, just an update for us.
So
sure.
the last meeting, we continued it because we needed a file number, and we had asked for some revisions on the plans, for some delineation or demarcation of the edge of lawn, if you
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
And then maybe some infiltration strips along the new addition for roof runoff. So you do have revised plans in front of you tonight showing the plantings that are going to demarcate the edge of lawn and the infiltration trenches, stone trenches along the new addition. And we do have a DEP file number. DEP
Good.
did comment, they did question whether or not the stream back there was perennial, and Mr. Dresser, Steve Dresser, did address them and say that Stream Stats does not show it as perennial, and the homeowner notices it dry at certain periods during the year. So
Okay.
I won't hear back from DEP, we never do, so
Okay.
I'm gonna take the Stream Stats word for it, and I think we have everything we were waiting for at this
You're
point.
recommending to approve then?
I do recommend to
Okay.
close it out, and I don't think we had any special conditions as of the last meeting that we were,
We had talked, I don't know that we required it, but we did talk about whether the homeowner would consider putting in a rain garden for roof runoff. But I don't think we
I
required him to
think
do it.
they did the trenches
The
instead, I
trenches
think.
instead?
Yeah,
Okay.
the stone trenches, yep.
I'm all set.
All right, anybody else comments, questions before we vote?
Were those, the trees delineation, that's new, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's to demarcate the edge of lawn, so kind of if any future
Were they
homeowners know.
indigenous?
I think the applicant's here, so. Yep, what kind of plantings?
Right now, what we were thinking, we have a lot of hostas and hydrangeas that are gonna be moved because of the construction we were maybe gonna put over there, but also welcome to any suggestions.
What's relatively inexpensive that would fit is blueberry bushes.
High bush, we always recommend.
Yeah, so they
High-
grow like 4 feet, and you might get some birds if you want them,
And you get berries too.
and berries.
I'll take it.
And they're not well, they're relatively not that expensive. I
And they're
mean,
native.
And they're
And they're
native,
native,
yep, yep. So-
That sounds good.
Yeah, and takes about 2 years, and right about this time of year in July, you'll start getting blueberries coming in.
You love when the birds get a hold of them.
Yeah, you gotta cover them with
Netting.
with netting before the birds get to them.
All about it.
I've got, that problem down with my place down at the Cape right now. Blueberry birds. Any other comments, questions? And then we have, good, then we have a motion to, this is looking for order of conditions, standard order of conditions then?
I move that we issue our standard order of conditions for 45 Rack Road. Didn't hear.
16.
I'm sorry? 16 Rack Road. I didn't hear any special conditions, no.
Thanks, Dave. Seconded?
Second.
Mark. And I came up with a second, very good. Very quick on that draw there.
Sorry, Kyle.
Yeah.
Took my share of the night.
Any discussion before we vote? No discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None, unanimous. All right, you're all set, ma'am. Very good.
Good luck.
Yep. Okay, 16 Rack. We have a notice of intent continuation on the agenda for 9 Longview Road.
No, it's a new one.
It was it's new, but we continued it without discussion,
Oh, okay.
because they didn't have a DEP.
Did we
Yeah.
do our legal notice? We did the
Yeah,
legal
we did
notice.
do it. We opened it and continued it.
Aha, okay,
So
very
now
good.
we're gonna actually get the presentation.
Okay, so 9 Longview Road. construction of an addition and deck. And now we'll have a presentation by the applicant. If you could give us your name, address for the record, that'd be great.
Kristen Farr with Hancock Associates. I am representing Hollywood Interiors, 9 Longview Drive. What you have is an existing single-family house. This is picking this. Existing single-family house and manicured lawn. They want to put on a small addition here and a little deck. The wetland is at the back of the property here. None of the work is in any of your setback zones. See what else? We have erosion control between the wetland and the proposed work.
Excuse me, miss, is this the last house on the right?
No, I want to say it's like the second or third one down
Third one in
on the.
from Old
yeah,
Westford Road?
I think so.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not part of those
Okay.
two that we
Okay.
were part of before.
We do have a DEP number and no comments. So if there's any other questions I can answer for you, I'd be happy to.
Thanks, Kristen. Appreciate the presentation, the overview. Let's see if the commission has any questions or comments. Dave, anything?
Let me take a look at it to go somewhere else.
Mark, why don't we give Dave a minute to?
Are those hay bales you have shown on the plan?
Yes.
Can you just get rid of those?
And do you want something instead, or do you?
Straw,
it's-
the straw,
Straw water.
Our wattles.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see a detail on here, so it just, I mean, we can specify, or you can put in the order straw wattles.
Yeah, I'll put it in
Okay.
the order.
Anything else, Mark?
No, I'm just trying to skim it.
Dave?
Is there gonna be a cellar under the addition, or is it gonna be on grade?
Um,
Are you gonna need to excavate fill? That's the real question.
I'm assuming so. I didn't put this NOI together myself, so.
Is the fill gonna be used on the site or gonna be taken off-site?
Okay.
Sorry?
There we go.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Mark, excuse me, Bill?
No, I'm good.
Good? Carl?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, good?
I'm
John?
good.
Good too? Katie, anything more you want to highlight from your agent's report?
No, just that any storage of material should be in the front of the house, because that's, outside of the 100 foot, the whole front yard, so it's a good place to store.
Good, all right, good. This is a public hearing, so if anyone from the public has any questions or comments for the applicant or for the commission, please raise your hand, identify yourself. All right, no public comments or questions for this matter. So we're looking for an order of conditions as requested by the applicant. We have a motion.
I want to see. What did I do with your? You got any, I misplaced your report, Katie. Here it is. I move that we issue our standard order of conditions for 9 Longview Road, and that there be no special conditions.
Maybe a straw wattle still on the plan?
Yep, just one.
Yeah.
Straw wattles instead of hay bales.
Thanks,
As a
Dave.
special condition.
Seconded? Carl?
Second.
Carl in the second, very quick. All right, any discussion before we vote?
My turn.
All right, no discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None, unanimous.
Thank you so
Very
much.
good, thank you, good luck with the project.
Are you the builder?
I am.
Recently, in the last couple of weeks, has there been a lot of, with the rain, has there been runoff coming down from Grandview?
I haven't been
You-
to
you haven't-
that
okay.
location.
Okay.
So where I'm working now.
Because that part of Longview can be kind of wet, and I just was wondering if it was coming off the hill.
Yeah, not that I haven't been.
Okay,
over there.
thank you.
Okay.
It's gotta be
Thank
though.
you.
It's been
With
quiet
this
over there.
rain, with this rain, yeah. Okay, so then the next item we have on tonight's agenda is a request for certificate of compliance. It's a new filing, and it was DEP file number 129-0176 for 46 Moore Street.
Yes.
Katie, what do you got on that one?
As you can see, it's a very old, 1985 by the file number. This is actually a large subdivision. It includes part of Moore, Marshall, and Shed. And this particular lot 46 Moore Street does not have any jurisdiction on it, but it was wrapped into the subdivision, so they need to release it for the sale. So there's,
Just down by the pumping station? Is it where Moore joins Shed?
right where Moore
Joins
joins
Shed?
Yeah, in that area. There's no jurisdiction on 46, so, but they're wrapped into the original development.
Any neighbor complaints about this?
No.
Okay.
All right.
I know why you asked that, but, so it's actually a partial, it's actually gonna be a partial, because we're just releasing this
So it's
one
a-
lot from the
So
subdivision.
partial certificate.
So they're all gonna come in
This is the
as,
Shed Lane subdivision,
yes,
not Moore.
Shed Lane.
Those are individual
So
houses.
is the bulk of the subdivision still under,
Yeah, there's not many releases yet. I have one coming in next
People
meeting
must have
for
So
Shed
They've been living
Lane.
there a long time.
yeah. The bank must be, when it, even there hasn't been that many transactions down there, or conveyances?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes people miss the whole, it's not, if you go on the registry and you look at 46 Moore, it's not even tied to it. You can't find an order of conditions, but these attorneys find them somehow. So
Oh.
it is tied to it. So it has to be released for this sale. So.
Okay. Anything else? Comments, questions?
I move we issue a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 1290176 at 46 Moore Street.
All right. Motion for the partial certificate of compliance by Dave,
Second it.
seconded by Carl. Any discussion? None? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Unanimous. All right, that's done with. And moving right along, we have discussion around a NEMBA event request. That'd be the New England Mountain Bike Association.
Yep, so this will tie into our issue under land management, but they're requesting a skills clinic on the 24th, which I think is Saturday, right? This
Yeah,
Saturday.
Saturday's been the parking issues. yeah.
But they're only estimating 10 participants, and it's not open to the public, and it's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and this is from Barry Moore of NIMBA. And they don't need Santa cans, they don't need tents, nothing like that, so it's just, they're running a skills clinic.
It's probably down in that parking lot that we were in on Sunday.
Saturday,
So.
yeah.
Do we want to just vote on this now and then go into the bigger
Sure.
parking issues?
Sure.
All right, we have a motion then to approve?
I so move that we approve a
Skills
permit to
clinic.
allow any MBA to have a
Skills
function. Do we know that, what was
What's
the
the
date?
date?
This Saturday, the
On Sat-
24th.
On Saturday, July 24th.
Thanks, Dave.
Second it.
And Carl in the second. Any discussion? He's just really getting aggressive on those seconds now.
I back down.
Any discussion? None? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Unanimous. All right, thanks. Okay, now moving on to our land management portion of our business. Carl, take it away.
So, yeah, a couple things. One, we'll talk briefly about Warren Poll. I don't know, Dave, if you're going to talk about the CR for a few minutes, but the DPW is having the wetland delineation completed. They've got a wetland person. I don't know if it's done yet. It was going to be done in this timeframe. And then Scott Ludwig from Surveying will locate the flags, do some more survey work, and then there'll be an NOI coming from an agent of the DPW.
Excuse me,
So that
Carl.
will happen.
Katie, how will that hearing go? Will DPW present it to the Conservation Commission?
Is the town, the applicant doing the work, the DPW?
The applicant is DPW.
Yeah, they'll present.
So they'll present it to us, even though to me it's an obvious conflict, but
Yeah, but I'll still be reviewing it as the agent,
Okay.
making sure it meets, regulation standards, so.
remember I said we want to be particularly careful, because there's wetlands on either side of that
Yep.
driveway, and we want to make sure that we hold ourselves and the town to the same standard that we hold private citizens to.
For sure. So that's really all I have on Warren Poll. We can talk about Russell Mill after Dave talks about the CR.
Last week, or 2 weeks ago, we handed out the latest draft of the conservation restriction. I asked you guys to review it as carefully as you could and to have any comments to us. Since then, Carl and I, have made 2 changes to it. One change was to
elaborate on the parking area, where the parking lot's gonna go. We're gonna include an attachment, which will have a map in it, which will circle the general area of where the parking will be. Because we don't know, or we won't know specifically where each parking space is going to be.
So Dave, just let me jump in. I was thinking about it. Given that this CR could be weeks and months from being submitted, we may have a plan by the
Yeah,
time we,
yeah.
a real
Yeah.
good detailed
Yeah.
plan, even an as-built, by the time we submit it, but.
Yeah, Carl's changes also allow us to have a number undefined of other parking areas as may be needed, without being specific as to where they are in the future. Because we don't know, first of all, we don't know how many spaces we're going to need. Remember, this parking lot at the end of Boston Road, the agreement says up to 30, including handicap parking. I don't know how many we can get in that area. I'd rather have it a bigger number and build fewer than have it too small and find out we need more. So that change has been made. The other change is we deleted in permitted uses the very last item, which talked about allowing us to have, potentially have antennas and solar farms where there was a public need, not a conservation need. And you guys talked a bit about that. I see, it's not high on my list of needs. I just as soon take that out rather than raise it as a subject, a contentious subject.
Yep.
So those are the two changes that Carl and I made in the last 2 weeks. What I propose to do is, if you have other changes and we can agree on them tonight, we'll incorporate them in this document. We'll then clean it up. We'll send it to town council for their comments, and then we will call Chelmsford Land Trust and say, we'd like to sit down with you and discuss it, negotiate it. That would be the timing.
Good.
That may not happen, and for all I know, and these things don't go fast.
No.
So, were there any, so did you guys have any other changes or recommendations or things that sat in, that were in that document that you thought were way out of line? Because if you don't, we can move ahead with it. I mean, you're gonna see it, you'll see it again, I think. Once we get agreement with Chelmsford Land Trust, there'll be a final draft.
come back to us,
And then you
yeah.
guys will get another look at it.
Yeah.
There's a lot in it. You gotta,
Sure is.
yeah. there's a
I
lot.
dream about it at night.
That's a little scary.
We'll talk afterwards, Dave.
Well, better that than some other things.
All right, thanks, Dave. So I'll start the discussion on the Russell Mill parking situation. So
So just on the CR then, so I hear no objections basically for Dave
sorry.
and Carl to proceed forward with, with the plan they've got now.
Good,
All right?
thanks.
So I think, so you guys are duly authorized, all right?
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you,
All right,
Mr. Chair.
Carl.
So we were requested via the town office, but the Youth Soccer Association and I can attest, I think 25 years ago, they were having parking problems at Russell Mill and still have parking problems at Russell Mill. And so we had a meeting, Dave and I met with representatives, 2 from CYSA and 1 from the Merrimack Valley New England Mountain Biking Association, Barry Moore, who we just mentioned in the previous discussion.
Excuse me, Carl, let me just give some background for John and maybe Mark, the rest of you. We have a memorandum of understanding with the Chelmsford Youth Soccer Association, which goes back 15-odd years, which specifies what part of Russell Mill they can use for soccer. And there's a map in the memorandum of understanding. It specifies they have the right to use that area from March to October, I believe, and that if anyone else wants to use where they are located, they need Chelmsford Youth Soccer's approval. So if somebody wanted to have some kind of a fair on the soccer fields, they would need to get the Youth Soccer Association's okay to do it. So effectively, we're giving the Youth Soccer Association kind of first dibs on that area. There is also a memorandum of understanding with the New England Mountain Bike Association, which is not as old. And that ostensibly says that in return for them maintaining the trails, they may use the trails for mountain biking. And that's about all it is. And the trails that they use are not in the fields that the soccer people use. But both groups and the public use the parking.
Right, and the public uses the reservation for walking as well as obviously mountain biking. And it was pointed out on Saturday, which I thought was a good point from Barry, that while he represents the mountain biking group, and it's a fairly good-sized organization, he said it might be 5% of the mountain bikers that show up, which is an even smaller percent of the users of that site.
There were a number of mountain bikers there on Sunday,
Right.
and they were kids, so they were from
Yeah.
Chelmsford.
Right.
I don't think they were from Nemba.
Right, so he doesn't have a whole lot of control other than he can, he can post some things, but it doesn't mean it's gonna go to that many people. So we did talk about trying to quantify the problem, and the youth soccer said it really is limited to Saturday mornings. They have young elementary school clinics from 9 to 1. There's 3 of them spaced out with half-hour gaps in between. And with the number of cars, it's somewhere in the 80 to 100 cars. That's the estimate. They haven't done a survey, but just based on if you had 1 car for each kid that's on a team, there's 80 kids out there on the field. So it's something in that neighborhood. If you also have bike riders, and if you have grandparents, and if you have, 2 parents with 2 different cars, you could easily be into the 110, 120, 130 range. In the meantime, since Saturday, we just got a quick layout from one of the youth soccer guys, and he said it looked like with some really fancy laying out of the main lot, you could maybe get, I think, over 100 in the 120 range, but it was very much he was just kind of taking a stab at it. The bottom line is, it's very tight. It's been a problem for years. There were people parking on the driveway into the site from Mill Road. In fact, on both sides of that, making it almost impossible to come in at times, so it's been a big, big problem. There is a back lot behind the main lot, so there's the front lot. As you come in, there's a lot just to the left, just as you come in, and it's behind there's a house right on Mill Road there. So there's a lot there. We'll call that the front lot. And then there's the main lot, which is a little further ways in, and that's a good-sized lot. But then there's a back lot that is behind the fire gate off the main lot.
Historically, that was the entrance to the Russell Mill Trails. And back there, you'll notice, there's a granite sign.
Yeah.
It says Russell Mill.
Lost in the weeds, so to speak. Yeah,
I remember that, parking lot. I mean, 30 years ago, it was
Yep.
a nice
Yep,
parking.
and it got closed off because kids, I'm guessing kids, maybe adults, were going back there and hiding and doing
Smoking
their,
and drinking,
doing their whatever.
Whatever.
So, a fire gate was put up, although, like, all of our, not that we want to say this out loud, but all of our fire gates, there's no lock on it. It just, it's just a fire gate. So, one of the proposals would be to clean up that lot, a lot of vegetation. It would be work, but it's not crazy work. To clean up the vegetation, maybe some leveling, and you could probably fit, just eyeballing it, 20 to 30 cars in that lot. We would only do that probably on Saturday. One of the issues is you'd have to have somebody open the gate, and then somebody close the gate, and you want to make sure nobody gets locked in. Barry said they had done this in the past and opened the gate when they knew they had a lot of people, and he said he got locked in there one time because people just, soccer people or whoever parked right in front of the gate, right in front of the open gate, and all of a sudden he's like, I can't get out, and and whoever it was probably on their bike out in the woods, so that's, that's a challenge. We'd have to work through that. But that is an idea, and there's some things we talked about help, getting DPW help with moving, reconfiguring the fire gate and the rocks there, putting some lines in there, and also putting some signs that would say, don't park here, and maybe even some bollards or something, There's some things we can do. It's not necessarily free, but there are some things that we can do. I think given that this is a serious situation, it can even be a safety issue. You get people that end up parking out on Mill Road, lots of frustration. This is a public place. It's very popular. I mean, this is what we call a good problem because it's so popular, but it is nevertheless a problem. So we don't have all the answers yet. We're getting all the information. We're working on ideas and opportunities. We did throw out ideas about possibly pushing back the two equipment containers a little bit and getting some more spaces there. We talked about
remember we picked up an acre of land last fall, which is half of what Billy Harvey's property was. Right now, we allowed costs to build a woodland garden in that area, but there probably is room to either to move the storage trailers back, which would open up areas in front, or clear some land to the right of the storage trailers and put some parking in there. So that's what, we could probably get maybe another 10 cars in there, maybe.
maybe 5 or 10, yeah.
And also, that would make more parking as people get to use the woodland garden.
Yeah, and maybe some more in the front lot. There might be some clearing we could do there, and we might get a
When you
few
go-
more,
right,
especially
when-
if you line it.
When you
and-
go, and also, when you go in the area, to the left, there's a parking lot before you get to the soccer field.
Yep.
And there's a pretty heavy barrier of woods, which is all conservation land. So it's possible we could move or cut down some of that wood and still keep a privacy barrier between the parking lot and the residences, because there's two houses on Mill Road that also abut the Russell Mill Reservation. So there's 3 areas where we can accommodate parking. And one of the things that Carl asked me to do, and I sent an email off to Gary Persichetti and Steve Yonley. We need their help in trying to tell us how much parking we in fact could accommodate. I mean, because I'm not an engineer. I know the rough size of a parking lot, parking space, but I don't know what you can get in. So, and the initial request came in through DPW before it got to us. So we got the request from DPW through Paul Cohen to us. So it's, as Carl said, it's pretty high visibility.
Yeah. And then some will have to be handicapped too, so you're gonna.
Well, there are 2, I believe there's 2 spots in the main lot, but the
were
signs are
taken.
always being stolen and
The
taken.
more you add, the more handicap, right?
Well, no.
We have to make them, yeah.
Technically, it's 1 handicap per 25 spots. But the definition is required when you have paved parking lots.
Well, you might have to pave this per
I don't-
planning board. I don't know. You have to go there for parking lot.
Well,
regulations.
then I would, if we
New
ever
parking
got,
lots,
if we ever got,
stormwater, all that jazz.
No, the-
if we got
With
to
all the
that,
new
I'd probably
stormwater
push back and say,
regulations
no,
and-
make do.
Have to
I
ask
don't want to get
Christina.
into, who's got the money to pay for a
Yeah.
parking lot and stormwater?
Right.
yeah, yeah. Well, right now it's pervious, so,
Yeah, yeah, the main parking lot is all street grindings.
yeah,
Right,
that's true.
yeah.
So one of the things the CYSA said is they thought they have a lining, I think maybe for the fields, but they
Probably.
said they can line the parking lot and it probably would last for the season. And if they can come up with a good configuration, because that's one of the problems is on Saturday morning, in that middle part of that main parking lot, it's determined by the
First car,
the
that
first cars.
determines where the parking's gonna
And you
go.
can completely reduce the number of cars there.
Depending on the size of the car too.
Yeah, so some of it, if you have some guidance, then you might be able to get a lot more. So, I think that's really about all we have. Right now, it's in process, we're working it. It may be that we'll do some kind of a cleanup, vegetation cleanup, maybe in August or something like that. And CYSA and NEMBA both said they were willing to try to rally their members to help, do it, spend a day and do some stuff there, but nothing
I must
official
say,
yet.
that reservation gets a lot of good
Lot of
use.
use.
Super popular.
Lot
yeah.
of use.
Yeah, I've been there in the daytime in the week, and there's a lot of bikers there.
Yeah, it seems like guys go there and girls go there at lunchtime
Yep.
and ride around the trails.
Yep.
Good.
I was there on a Sunday, I think, and it was packed, completely full. I was surprised.
Yeah.
So,
good.
actually,
Well-
Chris, if I remember right, you and I, that's when we first met.
We did?
Probably
Soccer.
soccer 25
I
years ago.
remember that, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember when someone was tearing up the field a couple years
Yep.
ago?
Yeah.
Remember with the
It cost them a lot,
ATVs or dirt
cost them a
bikes or
lot of
whatever?
money to fix that, I guess.
Yeah, that was, what, 3 years ago
Yeah,
now?
it's a shame.
Well, one of those houses, either on Freeman or on Mill Road, had teenage kids that used to give us some trouble.
Yeah, they must have had dirt bikes or something.
So, Mr. Chair, that's the end of my land
Oh,
management
you guys are
report.
doing, Dave and Carl, great job, because you guys have got involved, helping to, get the communication going, and doing what we can do to take the pressure off, so.
Have we got an invoice from the Boy Scout who bought material for the Crooked Spring Bridge?
Yeah, he's been paid.
He has been
Oh,
paid.
good.
Good,
Good to hear.
good.
Yeah.
And we should send him a note of thanks, too. Did you do
didn't
that
know
with
yet?
the check?
I haven't, because the check went out before we had the last
We
one.
just send him a note
I'll-
of thanks.
Do you want me to, you guys want to sign it, or do you want me to sign it on behalf of the committee?
You sign it as the
I
agent.
know there was one also at the Russell Mill. There was at least one, if not two there, projects.
Really?
Yep, oh, yeah, yeah.
As part of the woodland
Yep,
woodland
yep.
garden?
There was one that did the, there's a white fence.
Did we
the-
agree to contribute to it?
No, we
no,
never- they never
didn't-
presented
They didn't
to
come in
us.
front of us, and,
Well,
but we should certainly
he
do
may
a
have got
card.
money. They may have got money from that community.
Yeah, and that-
There's a small community fund that gives
Yeah.
money for
And then
stuff.
there was also the kiosk we saw. I think that was a different one, a different Boy Scout. The one at Russell
That's the
Mill,
one
that
you're
new
gonna build
kiosk.
for Warren Pole.
I'm gonna steal the plans. Yep.
Well, good, excellent, well, excellent report.
Is there a plan to put riprap on that new bridge at Crooked Spring?
I think Phil said they are working on that. I haven't seen or heard any more.
Yeah, I went by there today.
I did, it does need it.
Definitely. needs-
After all the rain, probably, too, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't
Washed out.
realize this, I thought Crooked Spring was 5 or 6 feet below the bridge, but it's only about 3 feet below the bridge.
Especially after
So
all
I
the
understand,
rain.
no, I understand why it got washed out,
Right.
Yeah.
or dislodged.
Very good. All right. Anything for an agent's report?
Just a lot of documents to sign.
Okay.
We have 3 COCs that were already signed, and they were lost in the mail somehow. So
From
that-
where to where?
From here to Worcester.
What's in Worcester, the deed?
There's an attorney in Worcester who was doing the closing, and she's never received them, so we're re-signing them, and she's gonna.
Did you send them?
Blame
Oh,
the-
yeah.
Blame the post office.
I'm blaming the post office.
What was the firm,
Oh, Cynthia Johnson was
That's all
her
right.
name. I don't know.
That's all right.
No, you don't want to.
And then we have our ORAD from tonight and the 2 orders from tonight to sign.
Good.
So
All
I'll
right.
start the.
Note you,
All right,
John
so
Hancock.
paperwork coming down for signature. How about minutes? How we doing with minutes, Vivian?
June 1st was sent out a while ago.
It was?
Did you get comments from anybody? I must not have,
unusual.
you get them from me,
Dave's usually pretty
Most of
good.
the time, yes.
so you didn't, so maybe we didn't get them.
They're in
Maybe they were,
Worcester.
maybe with the, they're with the COCs.
Maybe.
Let's get him on the
They
next
got
one.
I
lost
don't
in,
have them.
lost in Worcester. All right, let's get printed copies in for next meeting. We'll ensure
Have 'em.
a vote. All right. So we'll sign some paperwork here, coming down the line.
Make a motion, we adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by John.
get that one.
Yeah, he did, he nailed it. All
John
right, all those in favor? Aye, any opposed? None, unanimous. All right, Chelmsford